What's going on, everyone? This is Dr. Mephisto, and we're here today in Toronto. It's a beautiful day. And the guest I'm getting is she's an actress, an amazing singer, a dancer. She's been around for a while now. She has an amazing voice, and I can't wait for you guys to discover her. As usual, please subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification to make sure you are aware of all the new videos coming out, and support us on patreon.com. I'll leave the link in the description below, and for as little as $1 a month, you can get all the extra content that we publish and receive Ubuntu t-shirt. And let's go. Kwanza.
Hey. Yeah.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. All right, let's do this. So, give me a quick introduction for people who don't know you.
Introduction. My name is Kwanza. I'm an artist. I guess singer, actress, writer, entrepreneur, and that's it. Just explorer of life.
So, okay, let's take a step back. So, where are you from? Canada?
Yes.
Yes. Jamaican background, right?
Yeah, Jamaican Canadian.
Jamaican Canadian. And how long have you been an artist?
Well, I'm working artist like 10 years.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was the beginning of that journey in your opinion?
I would say, well, my whole life. I would say my childhood. You know, it was always my dream, but for me to actually take the steps to say that I'm now like pursuing this dream, that happened right after university, after I graduated. But yeah, I've been sort of like in musical theater and singing and dreaming about it since I was a kid, you know, and writing and singing and doing all these things. But it really took a lot of courage to actually follow my dream, because I had a lot of self-doubt, and I had a lot of just worry about finances and would I be able to make a career for myself. And I think those thoughts, yeah, they plagued me. They were overwhelming, that I thought, I don't even think I would ever take that step to
Right.
even try to pursue this, you know. So that me doing that was a huge moment.
So you started with singing, or?
I started with singing, yeah, because I started in acting. I started doing theater, and then I was in musical theater, so I started singing in, you know, on stage. But that was different than, because I always felt comfortable, because I was like, I was in a chorus, I was with a group of people on stage. But for me to step out and be like myself, and this is me, you know, I felt it was such a vulnerable feeling. So it was a big change.
Is that what you studied in school?
No, I didn't. In fact, I studied like a bunch of humanities, like anthropology, sociology, gender studies, all these things that I was just interested in, you know. I just wanted to like be at school and actually experience being in school, even though I knew that I was an artist.
Right.
I just wanted to actually like study things that I found interesting, which I think I was just like the only person I knew doing that. You know, when I got there, I went to U of T, which is very expensive. It's expensive to do that. Like, you know, everyone I was in school with was like, oh no, I'm taking this because of a career, or my parents told me to. And I was like, oh, I'm just choosing this because I thought it was interesting.
Right. So they actually had a plan, like a targeted plan, when you just wanted to enrich just your knowledge.
Yeah, I was just
Pretty
wanting
much.
to like I took whatever classes I thought were interesting, and but I think I always knew like I'm gonna become an artist.
Did it help you or serve you in any way with your artist path?
I mean, I can't say like specifically it did, but I'm sure it has generally, just because it was just a time of just exploration and a time of just reading and like enriching my knowledge, my mind, so
Right.
I'm sure it did. It was just overall like enriched who I am as a
Right.
person, and of course that affects like my art, right?
And you were, sorry, maybe it's just not super relevant, but you were like financing your school by like working on the side as an artist, or you started after?
No, I was modeling actually. So I paid for my school mostly through modeling, and I was working in fashion during school and after.
That's a fun way to do this.
Yeah, well, you know what? It just kind of happened. Like I wasn't really interested in it, but I had some people stop me in the mall and tell me, I should come to their agency or whatever. And but I did, and then they would always be telling me I need to lose weight because I'm like super tall, and they wanted me to do runway, and those girls are really, really thin.
Right.
And
It changed since, no?
it's changed now. Now
Yeah.
the curvy thing is in, which I'm happy about that. But the thin thing is still in too.
Yeah.
When you're doing high fashion and runway, it's still like super tall and thin. But they were trying to put me towards high fashion because of my height, right?
Right.
And so it was like, yeah, we're gonna sign you and just lose this many inches. And I was like, I'm not interested in that. I was always like an athlete, and I just wasn't, the idea of spending all this time to like lose weight or not eat or change my figure.
Right.
I liked my figure, so. But I ended up finding my niche.
That's kind of cool. It's not common. Like I find like a lot of, I guess, women band under those rules too. No, when they work in this industry.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you that coming from Paris, right? Like I've seen that many times.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, it's true. Especially, but the problem is, I've worked with girls then who've done that, and it's like, these are the biggest agents who are
Yeah.
telling you. So you think, oh, I have to do what they're saying, right? It's like, oh, it was Ford and Elite and all these people who were interested in me, and so you think, well, they know what I need to do to make money or be successful in this, so I should do what they say. But I've worked with girls who, left a smaller agency and went over to Elite, for example, and then once they got there, their agent couldn't get them any jobs, or they would just like work one job here or there. So they weren't really making that much money anyway, or maybe the same amount of income they had from their smaller agency, or maybe even less.
Right.
And so was it really worth it to just be like, and then I see them and they're just drinking green juice all day, and which I'm not, that's to each their own, but I knew that wasn't for me, because like I like to eat whatever I want. I don't like to have to think about those things. So yeah, but I was able to find my niche because I would say it was before the curvy girl trend
Right.
came in, so they had no vision of that happening. It was just fit into the norm type of thing.
Right.
But with a smaller agent, a smaller agency, and sort of more niche towards like, I don't know, face stuff. Like I did a lot of makeup stuff, and I did like rock-aware, like hip hop brands.
Right.
So I was able to, make money doing that.
Now it's it's more like on a sporty tip, no? Outside of the curvy.
Well,
it's
I
curvy,
would
but,
say, now Instagram, there's opportunities for girls to be more self-employed, self-sufficient. So I'm for one, I'm for it. Everyone's like, of course it has its things where, you know, sometimes we take things too far, but yeah, I like the fact that women are able to sort of just make their own money and make their own brand, and then say, well, I have all these followers, and so, you know what I mean, they have their own value, so it's not like waiting for an agent or someone to tell you you're valuable, you can sell, you know, these brands where they already have their own following, they already have their own value. So
yeah, it's cutting the middleman.
It's cutting the middleman out, and it's allowing sort of more diverse people, you know, you have like more diversity, where it's not just one person saying, well, this is the one look,
right,
and it's streamlined this way. It's like, now you have, well, listen, if you have the followers and you can market it and you can sell this brand, then you can do it regardless of if you fit into that mold or not. So I'm actually really supportive of that. I think it's great for young women who want to be entrepreneurs or want to be models and like just do their thing their own way. If someone told you like you can't be, I don't know, short and model, or you can't be like over this weight and model, or you can't, like, if you can do it, just do it. Now, like, no one can really tell you. If you have your own audience, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. So
and people will pay you, you know what I mean? Because if you're making the money, people, like, that's what it comes down to. So
do you think an agency is still relevant?
Yes, I do, especially because there's so many sharks out there, you know. But
so it's a protection more than anything.
Protection, of course, you can protect yourself with online too, because you can get contracts, you know, and you don't even have to see the people anymore. Like, you could have your own photographer, like, you know, for example, people who would approach me on my Instagram and want to send me their products. I take the photo shoot with my own photographer. They could, you know, then they pay me, and it's all transaction online, so we don't even have to see each other. So
I see.
I feel like there's more protection that way. But agents are still relevant, and I think especially if you're doing high fashion, that world still exists. That world still exists where, you know, but that I think is a smaller minority of girls, right?
Right.
Who are really fitting into that. But it's still beautiful. I'm not mad at it. I just like that now there's more options are open to people, and even, I'm saying young women, but even older women too, like whatever age range, whatever size, you know, if you have your own audience, then you can do whatever you want to do. That's the case with music too, really. But of course it takes work and managing this stuff and having a team.
So you said you paid off your school with your modeling, and then did you pursue after you switched to art? Did you continue modeling as well, or you still do that today?
Yeah, well, like I ended up working in fashion, because I guess I got into it through modeling, but then I ended up working in fashion wholesaling, and yeah, I was still, because I did that on contract. It was something that was easy to do. Being an artist, you know, I might go on tour, come back, and then take like a small fashion contract job or whatever. So that was something that was useful to have, you know, just for the money, and something that I still enjoyed, so it was good. Yeah, but I would say I was doing them at the same time. So when I left, it was right when I left university that I started singing. I mean, professionally. Like, I had been writing songs all throughout university, but I was really, really shy. I suffered from stage fright, like really bad, which you wouldn't think, because I was an actress and I was in theater, and I would do theater shows all the time.
Right.
And but when it came to singing, I had like stage fright to where I thought I would never step on stage. Like, I was like, I'm just not gonna do it. Like, it felt almost physically impossible. Like, the idea of me even like stepping my feet forward and like walking onto stage felt like impossible. Like, I'm not ever gonna do that. It was just so, and I over the years I've looked at why that is and what made me so scared, you know.
So
But,
yeah, sorry. So how did it start?
I was with a group of friends, and it was like the first summer right after I graduated, and we were sort of like traveling throughout the States. And I had a group of friends that we were living in like this 2-bedroom apartment in Ocean City, Maryland, and there was 10 of us with like bunk beds.
Wow. Okay.
It was like one of those, you know, student housing vibes, and so my best friend was there, and she would always say, oh, you know, Kwanza sings, or like sing us something at night, you know, when we were like just all hanging out. So I would like, that was a safe space. It was just a few friends, so I'd sing for them. And then one day we were all at this live music. We went to this bar. There was a band playing, and they surprised me. And my friend went on stage and said, "Next up, we have a song. You know, where Kwanza's gonna sing one of her original songs." And I'm like, "What?" And I didn't realize they had been buying me like shots of tequila all night, you know, and I was like, why is everybody buying me drinks? So they had this whole thing planned. So I was like very tipsy, and because, you know, all my friends were there, it was like a bar filled with my friends. They were like cheering me, and my other friend, my friend introduced me, and then my other friend literally dragged me on stage, and I was like, okay.
Wow, crying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was a bit tipsy, so...
Yeah, it helped.
Yeah, that helped, because I was feeling, you know,
courage.
liquid courage, yeah. So I was like, okay, and so I sang a little song, and then it was just so encouraging, because they were all there, like, yeah, that was amazing, you know? And that's how it started, and it was actually the band that was playing. I ended up staying my summer in Maryland and playing with them. So they said, oh, you did such a good job. You want to come back and sing with us again? So I rehearsed with them, and it was a reggae band, so I would sing some like classic reggae tunes that I knew, and I played with them for that summer, and that was it. And that gave me enough, you know, confidence to continue on, because they were kind of, you know, it was a little beach town, right? So it was like a reggae band playing all these little, playing like a little beach restaurant or a beach party or whatever.
So you really started with the grinding?
So I just started playing, and that led to just playing with more bands, and then when I came back to Toronto, I joined a reggae band here, and then I started like my own cover band, and then I joined another jazz band, and I just started doing the live thing, and slowly improving, you know, and slowly getting over my stage fright. I still had stage fright, but of course slowly I gained confidence the more I do it, you know. So it was just one of those things, like.
And so you stayed, you started in the US, right? Yeah. But then all the rest of your career was in Canada?
Not really, no. I had a lot of different experiences with the US, because I would say I joined the band that, like, I guess my most famous band that I sang with. They're Canadian, but I met my bandmate in LA when I was living in LA.
Okay.
So
when was that?
That was a few years later. I was with my girl, and she was like, what was she doing in LA? I was like, listen, we should just move to New York, you know. And she's like, okay, I think you're right. I think we should move to New York. But she's like, first come with me to LA, because I'm working on an album. She's a singer too. Okay. So she's like, just come with me for a few months, and because she had met someone, she had lived in LA and had gone to music school there or something. So she knew people, and she was like working out of a studio there. And so I was just there hanging out for a few months and trying to find work, you know, and like not succeeding. So I was running out of money, and I was, you know, we were living by where's that place, the water, that, not Malibu, but beside Malibu. Do you know?
I've never been
familiar with it? Okay. Anyway, it'll come to me. But yeah, I was running out of money, and then I just ran into. I was at a concert, and I ran into it was with a guy I was dating, and he was like, oh, you gotta meet this guy, he's a friend of my friend's, and he's like from this famous Canadian band, he's a really cool guy, come out and meet him. And it was actually my birthday, so again I was a bit tipsy, because my friend had like birthday shots going on, and I just remember meeting this guy, and we were like in one of the balconies for this concert. And because my boyfriend had gotten us tickets to this show. It was Broken Social Scene or something. I don't know. It was some Canadian connection. And then he and I were just like, it was my birthday and we were doing shots and I met this guy and we just connected and we became like just besties right away. You know, we're in that balcony like making jokes and he's like, oh, you should join my band. And I'm like, yeah, sure, you know. And I had demos on me, CDs at the time because I had recorded, you know, demos of myself, so I gave him
just in case.
Yeah, I just always had them on me. So I gave him one and he's like, yeah, come to the studio and let's record. I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, I thought he was full of shit. But then the next day...
I guess we're besties.
We were besties, but I thought he was just like...
Right.
Yeah, sure, you have a band. Okay, cool, whatever. You know, everybody has a band. And then the guy I was dating was like, no. Like, you gotta look him up. He's legit. And that was it. And so I stayed a little longer in LA and I recorded the first album that I recorded with them.
But hold on, he invited you to join his band, but he never heard you sing?
He just heard my demo.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
So you played your CD at that time. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of cool. And then, so that band was, you were in LA at that time, right?
Yeah.
And so you stayed longer in LA for this?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, to go to the studio to record. And so we recorded a few songs, and that was it. You know, I left soon after, and then I was in Toronto just doing my thing, and then someone called me up, said, "Oh, I'm a manager for this band, and we're gonna pay you some money. Yeah, your song's made it on the album." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And that was pretty awesome.
So all those like those demos like you gave and everything, were they originals or they were covers?
I had I believe I did 2 demos. I think my first one, I think I had 1 original and 1 cover. It was just 2 songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did another mixtape. I don't know the timing of when I did that, but I did a full album, which was you know, all originals, but to like other people's beats.
Right.
You know, like hip hop style. So I did that. I don't remember when though. I can't remember when the timing, but yeah, I had 2 demos at one point, and they were really rough. Like
rough how? Like just angry or?
Just when I look back, I'm like, ooh. But you know, whatever. You gotta
rough how?
Just like for me to listen to, it's rough. I'm like cringing, cringe moment. I don't know. Like just I would maybe just the mixing or my vocals. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't want anybody to find those. And like.
Okay, so it was rough. Like you don't like it. You don't like to hear it anymore. Not like the lyrics were just too aggressive or too sexual or something.
Oh no. Rough meaning just not very good.
Right. Okay. So
yeah. Just,
yeah. And so what's your style like in terms of like what you cover or like what you prefer singing?
I prefer R&B, like R&B soul music. That's where I'm most comfortable in my voice. But I mean, I've sang everything because I've just been in so many bands.
It's
and
true.
For me, it's interesting because I never had any I had recorded music with, you know, that band, and then I recorded my demos and I recorded covers, but I never had any original music. But I started playing with bands live, and so I ended up having a career just playing live without any music recorded for so long. I got really used to you know, working a microphone and working a crowd and singing live, but the studio was like a totally different thing. So I'm only now, in the past, you know, couple of years, getting accustomed to working in a studio, and it's totally different. Just because it's been 10 years of me just singing live and playing off that energy and working a crowd crowd and working a mic, which is great, you know, because I feel like I have put my 10,000 hours in on that. But you know, I feel super confident now. So it's night and day. It went from where I only started singing because I wanted to be a writer. I didn't even think I was good enough to sing. I thought, oh, well, I'm an okay singer, but I really enjoy writing. So I was writing songs, and I only started singing them because I wanted to write them.
Right.
And then for me to now get hired to be a singer, a live singer, is amazing, right? Because I spent so much time working on that. So that's incredible. And now it's like I'm at the point where I'm in studio and I'm, you know, finding my voice and my creativity and getting comfortable in the studio. Because hearing myself back and then just trying to be more creative and more experimental, things like that. That's where I'm at right now.
And do you play instruments, or you produce yourself, or none of that?
Yeah, I produce myself. I didn't want to, I didn't intend to, but I never really met anybody who I just clicked with, and so it was kind of out of necessity.
Right.
I started making my own beats, and at first they really sucked. But I just had to continue because I did it out of necessity, because I'd be, trying to find producers to work with, and I just never found it. I'm sure I had a good thing here or there going, but nothing that really was like, okay, this is it, I found my thing, where I found my producer, So it was sort of out of necessity that I just started experimenting, chopping up samples, chopping up loops, and making my own beats. And I still would say that I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm winging it still. But sometimes I make things that I like, I'm like, oh, that's actually good. So I just started having those moments, more recently, where I'm starting to like what I'm making more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge, that's huge, because that's a big transition from years of making things that I'm like, no. It's just self-taught, like trial and error. That's how I'm learning, and like watching YouTube videos. And sometimes my learning curve is so slow because for everything I want to do, I'm like, I know what I want to hear, but I have no idea how to do it.
Right.
So then I have to look up the YouTube video how to, and then sit and watch that, and then try to apply it, and then for the next thing watch another how-to video, and really like learning the slow way, But it's good. I'm glad that I'm starting to have things I like now.
Yeah, so you started with the like real gigging from the beginning, and
Mm-hmm.
so how did you handle this transition to social media? Like, did you start like putting more stuff out there, or like, I think I asked you that before, if you had like an album or something. I know you were working on something, but
Yeah.
you have a SoundCloud, right?
Yeah, I think I was slow with the social media because I was a live singer and I was a gigger,
Mm-hmm.
and I was making money doing that. So
You didn't see the interest?
yeah, I didn't see the purpose of it right away.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was making, at the time when it was really sort of starting and getting going, I was actually quite busy.
Mm-hmm.
I was touring, and I was, so I didn't really need it. So I would say it's only more recently that I started posting, and that is really just out of just trying to find, I would say, doing it for the fun of doing it.
Right. Kind of embracing this new culture.
Without,
Right.
no expectations.
Right. You don't have this anxiety to not exist if you're not online.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's more for like getting to that place where I'm like, oh, this would be fun, and how to now just enjoy performing for my phone or
Right.
like my camera, because that's new for me too.
True.
Which it never appealed to me before, because I guess maybe, because I was always performing for audiences, and so I didn't really have that desire either.
Right.
But then I guess during COVID, I wasn't able to perform, and I thought, well, it'd be nice to sing for people, so I started actually making videos and singing on video for the first time, really. My other videos had just been live videos, and I guess that just came out of like a true feeling of just wanting to sing for people. And it wasn't really like, oh, I need to have a social media presence. I still don't think like that.
Right.
I'm really not a very practical thinker like that at all. Like when I'm thinking about market, I don't really consider those things. Maybe I should, but hopefully I'll get a manager who thinks about those things for me, because it doesn't come naturally to me. It was really the inclination to sing or even post on social media is really just out of like creativity and a desire to just sing to my camera for people,
Right.
So I still don't really have any strategy or like social media strategy. I can't say that I'm even thinking that way yet.
Right. I was gonna ask, because you sang with a band so much. Do you did you get what about your own career as a singer? You were always associated to band, or were you able to do some solo thing, or that's not necessarily something you envisioned?
Yeah, I mean, I've had all sorts of things. So I did have one project that was like the Kwanza project, and then I did weekly residences, and that would be at a really nice one I did at a piano bar. It was really lovely, and that would be my name, featuring Kwanza, things like that. But I can't say that I really have, if you Google, I can't say I really made a name for myself, because I've always been with under different titles.
Right.
I had this band and that band and this. So I think, and also I'm not, I think I'm pretty humble. So I don't think a lot of people even know what I've done. Or.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, and I don't even think people.
I heard one song that you sent me once, though.
Yeah.
So I know what you can do, but
I don't even think most people know unless they've come to see me. They don't really know everything.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy that you don't necessarily have even a YouTube presence.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is wild. And someone said that to me once. They're like, so you have a career singing live and you've never even put out a single? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's blessed. I'm like, yeah, I guess it is blessed. I never thought of it that way. I'm always thinking of, oh, well, I don't have this yet. I need to have, rather than just being grateful for what I've already have. He's like, so many people would wish they could have a career just singing live. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I should just give thanks for that, just, that's blessed. That's beautiful. And so now, for me personally, I desire to have, my own projects, my own recorded projects, because that's something I really want. I started this whole singing thing because I wrote songs.
Right.
Because I was a writer. Because I thought I would be writing for other people. I never thought I'd be singing my own songs.
Did you?
Yeah, because I never thought I was good enough, So that was part of where the stage fright came from, of thinking I wasn't good enough.
So you actually wrote for other singers?
Oh, no. But I would write songs thinking, oh, I will never sing them myself, but I started this whole thing as a writer, so that's why now I'm so excited to be in studio and writing my own songs and making my own original material just for myself, without a project or another band or whatever, because was always what I wanted to do.
So how come you never sold your text, for example, or wrote for someone? Is it just because your time got swept by the singing?
I would say because of that, and also I was just busy, and at the same time I was a single mom, and I was touring literally. It was crazy. So I was already, and I was also holding residences, and then coming back to Toronto, doing my weekly residences, then leaving, touring, then also being a mom. So I was already crazy
Sounds
busy.
Intense.
It was an intense period of time, but also really fun.
Right.
I had the time of my life, and I would say the other reason is because I didn't have a producer.
Right.
So it's really hard. If I'm just a lyricist, or I'm thinking of the melodies to actually make the song come to life. You know, I was missing something, and it is a great producer who can take your lyrics and your ideas and like bring it to the next level, and, you know, put that magic on it that turns it into a good idea to like a great song. And I think,
So what do you like?
what do
you like these days? Like the kind of music you like to sing to? What you experience with?
Oh my gosh, I like everything. I really do. I'm such a fan of music. I am. It's so hard because I can go on like YouTube searches just non-stop, just discovering. I feel like there's so much good music right now. There's so many new artists that are amazing. So much good music. Like I can't stop being a fan. And I like everything, right? That's the thing. I like so many different styles of music. So I'm always discovering new artists constantly, and like having these like love affairs, you know, and they're so short. It's like I'll have a 1 week love affair with this and like, oh my gosh, this artist is amazing, and then just watching all their interviews and listening to all their music, and then the next week it's somebody new, because I just feel like this day and age with it's just so easy to discover new music, and there's so much music. It's like I don't even have time to enjoy it all. But
it doesn't have time to sync.
Yeah, I don't have enough time for it. It's incredible how many talented people there are, and I'm such a fan. Like I like everything.
You think it's detrimental to music?
No, I don't. I just think it's it's like maybe the time of superstars. You know, not all these people are going to become superstars. They're super talented, but they may never be a superstar, you know? And maybe that's okay.
Do you think being a superstar is healthy?
No, it's not. That's why, you know, or to be an icon, right? It's not really healthy. Because I was reading about that icon thing the other day, and it's like you don't really get to be real anymore. It's like in someone's mind. You're created in you're like an idea in their brain now,
right?
Rather than just existing in like who you really are. You don't really get to be flawed,
right?
And so I don't think it's healthy.
So you'd rather be like a street star, you know, like known in your hood or
Ghetto
in your city.
That's
right.
I mean, I feel like all the people that I admire, that you know, you can have a great career and sell music and sell tickets to shows and tour and make a good income and have a wonderful life, and you don't have to be, and people who are your fans will know you, but you don't have to be like a superstar, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna tell you this the other day. The people who got it really good, I feel these days, are those old school stars that their name is already out there.
Yeah.
And they don't need to do much. They just need to book shows because people are nostalgic and they want to hear those songs because they like music from before better.
Yeah.
And they don't need to do much.
They got lucky. They got really lucky.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Like Madman and Redman, they book anything right now. Like they come to Canada, or Wu-Tang, they'll
just keep
sell
touring.
out. Yeah, I know. And that's the whole beauty. Like that's the whole beauty of music, right? Is to be able to perform live. Otherwise, you know, you're just selling.
Yeah.
That's the real interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it must be difficult now, but
it is. Yeah, I think it's way more difficult, but I think you can still hit that sweet spot where you're living off your art, and you have enough fans, and you know, to sustain yourself, and more than sustain yourself, like be comfortable, but you don't have this crazy life of, you know, all the other stuff.
Craziness of fame.
Yeah.
Do you what about your acting career? When did that start? I mean, like you said, you did your school.
Yeah, I was a theater kid, you know, and then I sort of wrote it off, like I'm not gonna pursue this, because I was modeling and I was pursuing singing, and I read some really bad advice that said just only do one thing, because it's, you know, just put your focus into one thing. And so I said, okay, I'm not gonna worry about acting. And that sort of just came recently, because and that was honestly like, I had just finished a tour, and I came home, and then I'm like, okay, it's really a difficult life, because you're touring, and then all of a sudden you're done, and then there's like no money, and so you have to like get the next gig. And so it was really just something that I was on, like looking at different auditions and like looking on the gigs, you know, on Craigslist at gigs, and I'm seeing like, oh, auditions for commercials, so I'm like, oh, that pays, let me do that. And so I started doing commercials, and then I saw the paychecks, and I was like, okay,
the paycheck?
The paycheck. Okay. I'm like, this is worth my time. And and then once I got into it, I was like, wow, I really miss acting. I can't believe that I sort of like ended that part of myself for so long. And you know, then I decided to go back to acting school, take acting classes, and get an agent. So I was doing all that while I was still singing, and that was sort of like my little side hustle.
Right.
You know, because I found, coming from music to acting, that in fact getting acting gigs is a little easier.
That's
acting life is a bit easier, and it pays a bit better.
And music.
I mean, you know, everyone's different, but for me, at being alive, a gigger, they would call you a gigger when you're like me, just taking, you know, touring, taking gigs with different bands. I found, acting paid better, but it's another thing that it's like, it's not guaranteed. You know,
right.
You still have to. But I mean, together they work well, because usually if one thing is slow, the other thing is, I got something. So they work good together for me. And at the same time, I was still working in fashion.
Oh wow, okay.
So I would take contract jobs doing that too. So between those three things, I was I always had something. You know.
Do you find it like, since you were just, you know, looking in all those directions at the same time, just be like the potential to grow in one, or to like scale your business, pushing it to the next level? Like, do you find that challenging?
Yeah, I think well, I think because, you know, I used to think that was challenging, and now I'm sort of at the point where I'm just allowing it to be whatever it is, you know, like, meaning that okay. Obviously there's like a driving school car ahead of us, and the person's talking like, she's taking a lesson, guy, relax. Sorry, what did you ask me? If it's challenging because I'm doing so many different things?
Yeah, no, to scale it. No, it's two different things. Just one to pursue. Well, yeah, it's more of like develop. Okay, so you're looking in multiple directions. So just to like develop one of them, or just like scale. Scaling is another different kind of question, because I know scaling your business requires. You know, not necessarily sticking to this business, but try to see what doors it can open to make it more sustainable, like increase your income, like increase whatever you can, even if it's passive, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I think because I knew for me that the next step for me to expand as a singer and to make more income and to have more autonomy would be to have my own music.
Right.
And so since I was in the studio working on that and trying to develop that, and I knew that wasn't something, because I could hear what I was making at the time and be like, it's not there, you know? So knowing that while I was doing that, I still had to make money. So then I'm doing these other things sort of while I'm putting myself under artist development, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So people would say, oh, you haven't performed for a while or whatever, and I'm like, I'm going, like, that for me is like, that's in me. I'm always going to be performing, I'm always going to be making music, but I had to take some time to take a break from maybe performing live, but I'm still working on my craft, developing myself as being a better in studio, better writer, better producer, because I knew that's what I needed to scale up musically. And so whatever amount of time that took for me, like, it was, at times it became, you know, really hard because it was taking a long time. Like I said, I'm like learning to produce everything myself, and I don't know what, you know, I don't know why I never met that other producer to make it go faster. That just wasn't my experience. So it is what it is. So I'm like, okay, well, in the meantime, I still have to, you know, it's an expensive city. So I'm like, well, I have these other things I got going on, so I'm, you know, working on those. So, I mean, yeah, did it possibly, it could have slowed me down, but I can't really say because I wasn't really ready to release music anyways. So I had to take some more time to step back and say, okay, where am I at? Do I want to keep just being a live singer? And my answer, meaning a gigger. And my answer was no, I want to make my original music. So then I have to actually put the time in to be able to make songs that I think are worthy of representing me. And during that time, I still had to make money doing other things.
Right, I'm guessing, like, yeah, even like the mom position was also, you know, in the picture too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, even just to get free time to just write. It took a lot of moving things around just to have that time in my schedule to sit down and have, even if it's just an hour a day or 2 hours a day, to sit down in front of my laptop and work on things. Just being a mom, that in of itself was hard. And then on top of that, like, you know, making money still. So yeah, so I guess I'm in a good place with it, where it you know, it is what it is. That's just my experience, right?
So what about the dancing part? I know you're a good dancer.
Yes. Well, you know, the dancing part is like, I that's my hobby, is dancing, because I always wanted to be a dancer, but I never had dancing lessons.
Really?
So as a kid, well, me and my sister, we'd watch music videos, and we'd sit there and we'd like copy and break it down, and she's like, okay, and and we were so into this. So I taught myself how to dance, and then I had a little dancing crew, hip-hop dancing crew in high school. You know, we would get outfits and do all the talent shows.
What's your name?
What was our name? I had two. We were the Prophets. Yeah.
The Prophets, okay.
Yeah. Which was
interesting.
I know, which was my brother's brothers had a rap group called the Prophets, and he's like, oh, I want some dancers. So we danced for him at one show, and then he ditched the name and he got a new name, so we just ended up keeping his name. He had like a hip hop group called the Prophet. So
You said you had another one?
So he got another group.
No, but you said you had multiple names?
Yes, I was in another group that was actually more professional. Like, we actually did some paying gigs and stuff in high school. That was called what were we called? And I know if any of my girls see this, they're gonna be like, girl, how could you forget? Because I made a lot of friends in that group. We were like a dance hall soca Caribbean dance group. Oh, Sac Jam? No. God, I cannot remember. It's gonna come to me.
Yell at.
Yeah, they're gonna yell at me. I don't remember. But anyway, it was like, yeah, Caribbean dancing. But I never had lessons, so I was self-taught. I just watching music videos and dancing, and now, you know, I do dance lessons for my workout and my hobby. And
like giving them or taking them?
I take them.
Okay.
So that's how I kind of work it into my schedule. Is I figure, like, instead of going to the gym, I go to a dance class, or I go to, well, I'm in yoga too, but yoga or dance is how I stay fit. And so that would I would say that's my hobby, but I would love to work it into, it obviously everything works together, right? The acting, the singing, and the dancing. So, you might see a little something in my music videos when the music's ready. Of course I'm gonna put something in there.
Do you have a deadline
for my music?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do. I'm working with a few people right now, and I also just got I don't want to tell people this.
Alright, no pressure.
Yeah, but yes, I have a deadline.
You have something cooking.
I have some things cooking, and
but 2020 or 2021?
Pretty solid deadline. I'm gonna say 2021 because I was supposed to have had things already finished, one deadline already passed, but it didn't happen due to COVID and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So things kind of got pushed forward. So I'll say 2021. But yeah, definitely I'm gonna incorporate some dancing just because I love it so much. I think I don't know, something about always like wanting to be a dancer but like never being trained. There's something about that is just like, it's just always so raw for me, and like I just love it so much, so
what prevented you? You just didn't have time, maybe?
You mean taking lessons?
No, just to become a dancer.
Well, I don't know, I grew up poor and my parents would just say no, nothing. Like I couldn't, everything I asked for was just no. Like no lessons, no this, no that, just don't ask for anything. And like I was always working, I was at a job, so I'd always end up paying for everything I was doing. But then I ended up joining those dance teams, so for me that was enough training, enough, I guess.
I had a guest on this podcast. I'm probably gonna end up linking you with him because he's a very good producer. He's a DJ too.
Oh, nice.
And he told me this story that he really wanted to learn how to box, but he had no money. And what he did is he went to this gym and he just he asked me like, I'll do anything to get a membership. Like I'll come and I'll clean the place, whatever. Like just let me train here.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like I think I heard that thing before, like some athletes that became like a pro boxer or something like that. Anyways, that's pretty interesting, like how some people find ways sometimes.
Yeah.
But in any case, like I know a lot of dancers, and it's rough.
It is a rough life to get
rough.
gigs and everything.
And it's very ironic that you need to pay so much money to get paid so little. For classes. Yeah. To get, when you work, it pays so little. Well, from what I understand, and to like never really get the recognition, because dance is always seen as like a background thing.
Yeah.
Except by certain artists like Missy, or people start coming around, especially with the social media now, where dance become like more forefront. But
yeah, that's nice. I really like that.
Yeah.
I follow a lot of dancers, and I appreciate that they're getting some shine.
Yeah,
they definitely deserve it, because it's
so much work.
It's so much work, and it takes a lot of skill. Do you have any tissue, by the way?
Yep, right there. Boom.
Yeah, I have so much respect for them, because I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Because I know coming in and how hard they train. Because I've probably been putting myself in, like, taking lessons, but I mean not seriously, but I do African, hip hop, Caribbean, mostly Caribbean, dancehall, soca, and it's been like 4 years now, and I'm still like a beginner.
Really?
And I mean, that's how I feel when I see professionals dancing. When I compare it to them, I'm like, oh wow, I'm sure they've been training their whole life.
Well, are we talking about technique, or are you talking about like performance, or like your memory, or
I mean, all of it when it's
Yeah.
all combined together, you know, because I can, like, I know I think I'm good. Like, I'm all right. But then
Mhm.
when I see real professionals, and it's everything, I'm still learning so much. I'm still learning so much about performance, about everything. My memory, definitely. Just how they pick up choreography so fast. It's amazing.
I was impressed to see how hard it must be to be dancing and singing at the same time.
That is hard.
Like, how do you
You know
conserve
what?
your breath?
You know what? I did it. I was
Yeah?
I danced a lot. We had one band I was with. We were a really dance band,
Mm-hmm.
like playing.
Oh, like dance music, like
Oh yeah,
music to
house.
dancing,
So I'm and then imagine this like gospel house, right?
Right.
So I'm singing these big. I have to have so much air. It's like these
Right.
big gospel vocals, but then I'm like, in the crowd, it's crazy. We were known as like a party band, so everybody's dancing. I'm dancing on stage, and it takes so much endurance.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, cardiovascular, and it came through just practice. So like usually by the end of the tour, I'm in like top shape. You know, like for example, you know, when we because I'm jumping around and doing like house dancing on stage, you
Right.
know, and singing gospel vocals, crazy. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And it's like when we toured France, like thank God Paris was our last stop, because you know everywhere else we were like yeah, cool, but what we really care about is like getting a good write up in Paris,
Right.
you know. And it was like by the time we'd played all, I don't know how many, I think it was like maybe 15, 18.
Is that with your group from Montreal?
Yes, yeah. And in Paris was our final gig. And by the time we got to Paris, I was in tip-top shape.
Mhm.
So it was like we crushed it, you know, because I'm
Yeah.
just so used to every night and it's even being so aware of your breath control,
Mhm.
when to breathe, and like when I have to stop dancing, because I'm like, now just like,
Yeah.
you know, get this out, and then you can dance for this part, because I know I have a little break here.
Right.
And it's you know, it's a lot.
Paris is a rough crowd.
Well, we crushed it.
Yeah.
We were so proud of ourselves, because that's
That's a
we
reputation.
had a great we had a great show, and they gave us a really good write up.
You know, there's a thing in France. Well, from what I understand, so the city my family was from, Angers, in the west of France. It's known to start all the tours that start there, because
Oh,
it's
yeah?
a very rough. It's a very tough city to win the crowd. So they know that if they make it there, they can make it all, you know,
Well,
everywhere.
that I don't know if you heard this, but that's what Toronto's known
Toronto
for.
is, yeah, I know. That's
And
what I
it's
heard.
really true, because I'll tell you, I came up doing, you know, just open mics, coffee shops, everything here, with just very hard,
dead
which I
souls
didn't
and stuff.
know. Yeah, I didn't really realize they were such a hard crowd until I went out,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, it's
I know.
true. Like, if you can work your crowd here, then you're good. Like,
Yeah.
you can go anywhere. Even New York City, they're more giving than
Right.
Toronto, you know.
Yeah, I saw Ali Shahid Mohammed here, and I saw him in Paris. Completely different story.
Exactly.
Like, he came, he saw the crowd, I was like, I'm just gonna do my thing. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna talk too much
Don't
tonight.
worry. Yeah, that's what you have to do. Like, if the crowd is dead, you honestly just have to find a vibe within yourself and in your band or whatever, and just like, okay, we're having fun, we're doing our thing, but you're not. And I feel like that's what the fans are missing out on. Is, you know, if you go to see a show in Montreal, your experience is so much more fun, because there's the energy and a vibe, and people are having fun. In Toronto, it's like,
It's weird, yeah. They just go out because it's an artist from outside of the country or the city. That's why they go, but they don't necessarily. That's my feeling. They don't necessarily like know
it.
the music, or I don't know,
I'm not even sure. I
the
don't
drinking
know.
thing. I don't know. Everybody drinks, but it's just I don't know what it is about Toronto. But there's some very good crowd too in Toronto, but it's just like when it's international artists, it's just a different thing.
You mean they like them more? There's more support for international artists?
There's more, but still the crowd is weird.
Mm-hmm. The crowd is weird for international artists.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting city.
It is interesting, yeah. It's definitely, it had that name for a while, like Screwface Capital, where you're performing and people just look at you funny, you know?
Yeah.
You're like pouring your heart out and people are just like, okay. But it's true, you know, this is where I came up, this is where I can rock a crowd, so I feel very confident anywhere I go now. And it's way more love everywhere else, which is kind of bad. But,
That's right.
yeah.
So, are we getting towards the end? So, do you want to tell people where they can find you? Oh yeah, you have also this. I don't really want to talk about it. This little business you're doing. You're basing. So I know it's the end of the summer, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you want to talk about those things. I'll share the links anyway.
Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm the Joyful Dreamer. I'll update there anything that I'm doing, any links to my music videos and all that stuff. That's probably the best place is my Instagram. Yeah, I have a couple businesses. Soleil Amore Swimwear. SoleilAmore.com if you want to get some suits, some bathing suits, because like I said, we didn't talk about that, but I worked in fashion for so long, and then I just decided to do my own thing because I love the beach and I love swimwear so much.
Yeah, son, it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. Just check out the Instagram. Oh, I have SoundCloud too. It's 13 TH13 TEEN 13.
Yeah, I'll add all the links
Yeah.
required. All right, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks
I'm
for
gonna wrap
having
this
me.
up.
Yeah.
And
I talked a lot. You can cut some of it out.
no, it's all gonna go online. Thank you so much, guys, and see you next time.